do you really know the realities of going after those dreams of yours? You know, have you figured out why is it you're still not getting where you need to go? Well, when we come back, we'll talk about at least 4 things that you may not have considered that keeps getting in that way. Okay? Be right back. The Mojo Maker here, bringing you another hot Mojo tip. I'm also the creator of the Mojo Factor. I'm a publicist, but more importantly, I'm here to help you bring out your boldness and your chutzpah so that you can go out and create fabulous things out in the world. So I started off this episode by talking about if you understand or if you don't understand what you actually need to know to create those dreams of yours. And as someone that has been looking at this whole personal development piece most of my adult life, well, I should say all of my adult life, because I started back in my early 20s, it's, you know, I keep hearing the same things go on and over from a multitude of people and books and seminars and such. And they spend a lot of time on the motivation and the inspiration piece. Yet a lot of people are still sort of holding back from really giving you the entirety of it. And I've always wanted to know what it is, because sometimes I find myself stuck. You know, no matter how far I get myself going or how I get myself all rolled up and raveled up, I still tend to find myself being dragged back 5 spaces after taking 3 steps forward. And it can be very discouraging at times. I have to tell you, it's not easy. I can see why this is not a journey for everybody. You know, there's a really famous saying that says, many are called, few are chosen. And I can understand why, because, you know, I went in with this mindset that things will move out of my way or life was fair. And I found that no, things are not moving out of my way, and life is far from being fair, at least what I consider to be fair. Life is our beliefs, we put our desires, we put what we think should be happening, and in actuality, that kind of thinking only gets us in a whole lot of trouble and creates a whole lot of disappointment. So what do you need to know for you to move forward on your trek to your dreams or building that business, okay? And I wrote some of these down because I didn't want to forget them, because they're really important. And I'm doing my own study and I'm doing my own writing. I just wanted to make sure I pulled out the 4 from the 11 chunky, meaty stuff that I found out there, okay? And the first one being is that we push off responsibility. And these things that I'm telling you, you're not going to want to hear, because as far as we're concerned, no, we don't push off responsibility. We think we're responsible people. We're doing our business. We're running our lives. We're adults. You know what, guys? We tend to push off that responsibility because in certain little ways that are unknown to you and riding under the radar, you do. I know I do, and it was shocking to understand that I thought I had that covered. Apparently, I don't. I was somehow expecting it to happen or happen through somebody else or something. So my thinking wasn't really focused on its entirety on where I needed to be with that. So you have to be careful about where and how you're actually pushing off responsibility. The second thing is, and you've heard about this, but we're afraid of criticism. And being afraid of criticism, nobody likes to hear that anybody talking against their stuff or anything, how you look, what you do, how you speak, anything, But first of all, criticism is not necessarily a bad thing, because sometimes it's how you frame it can be a huge help to you. And not all criticism is to be taken in. Some people are criticizing just to be mean. So you have to decide which criticism you're going to allow in and which one you're going to allow to bounce off you. And we're human. We tend to spend a whole lot of time thinking about for some reason. You got to learn to bounce that off and just pull in the ones that can help spiral you higher, okay? The next thing is lazy. We're lazy. And again, we don't want to hear that, because of course we don't see ourselves as lazy, or if we're lazy, we're never going to admit to being lazy. But what I mean by lazy is not so much that you're sitting on the corner of the couch drinking beer, watching TV or Netflix all day long. I'm not talking about the obvious signs of laziness. I'm talking about the unwillingness to go that huge extra, they say extra mile, I'm talking extra 10 miles. We live in a very and highly competitive world. Everybody wants to get to the top and scale the mountain and get those customers and get that money and get the acclaim. And in order to do any of those things, if any of those things are of interest to you, you need to go further than everybody else is willing to go. If everyone's working 5 hours, you need to be working 10. If everyone's doing a video a week, you need to be doing 2 videos a week. If everyone's writing a blog post, you need to be writing 3. If everyone's going to events, you need to go to 2. You know what I mean. And I don't mean run yourself ragged until you drop dead in the street. I am meaning, though, if you are wanting what you say that you want, there is work to do. You know, you've got to get up earlier, you got to drill until you strike the oil. Most people just want to show up when the going's good with their bucket for a handout. No, you got to do the work, and you have to go a little bit further than everybody else is willing to go. You have to, if you're going to own your lane, it doesn't mean that you just show up in your lane. It also means that you do the work to be the best in lane, best in class, best in everything at that point, okay? Write, speak, lead, be the best leader. Show your leadership skills across all your social media platforms all the time, okay? The last point I want to leave you with today, now I said there's 11, and I do all 11 in my teaching in my Mojo Factor, and we go deep. I'm just quickly racing through some of these points because I don't want to keep you here all day on camera, okay? But there is more to it, and we go through steps on how to move you through the laziness, how we move you through the lack of responsibility, how we move you through the criticism. 4th point is creativity and originality. You know, we live in a very competitive world. Noise, 24/7. We're carrying devices. People are trying to get our attention, and you're trying to get people's attention too. And how are you planning on doing that? Showing up, saying the same things in the same way? All right. Nobody cares. They tune that stuff out. All right. If it's the same stuff in the same way, in the same voice all the time, nobody's going to care about you. You're only going to get 2 or 3 views on your video. No one's going to share your stuff. Nothing. Creativity and originality. I'm a publicist. I help people show up in a more original way because people have the attention span of a dust mite. All right? And I know that sounds highly critical, but it's the truth, and you know it. You have to be able to capture people's attention in seconds, minute seconds. And how are you going to do that if you sound like everybody else? We are getting really good at tuning things out that don't interest us. All right, a lot of information goes by us in any moment. We only pick in and hone in on those things that stand up and stand out bright and shiny. All right, is that you, or are you like everybody else, sounding like everybody else in the same boring, uninspired way? All right, that'll be the death of you if you're not going to do that, by the way. Okay, there are people that are not even talented or intelligent that are getting the views because they're making bold statements. They're showing up in ways that most people are not willing to show up. All right, and again, I work with people like that. So if you need to know how, send me a note. I have my email address down here underneath this video. It's important if you're going to survive this game, okay? So that's my 4 points on this today. Like I said, there's 11 that we work with and we hone in on it and get it going. But I love talking about this stuff. It's not easy. It's not the fun, inspiring stuff that most people are going to tell you, unfortunately. But if you want the truth, I'm willing to share the truth with you because I'm walking it myself, okay? So, I'm Pamela Silva, the Mojo Maker, here with another hot Mojo tip. Subscribe to this YouTube channel, and I'll be back again with some more inspired, truthful talks with you. Or follow me on my blog at PamelaSylvan.com. All right? Continue to show up bold, brave, and bodacious.